Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Liz Lasky from lizlasky.com, and welcome to the Telesummit Ready, Set, Success. Today on the Telesummit, we have a power woman joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Susan Bratton. Thank you so much for joining us today from SusanBratton.com. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She is the CEO and founder of 3 internet companies. She is the author of 2 books. She is the host of a weekly online show. She's a blogger, a keynote speaker, a workshop leader, and today we are lucky enough to have her joining us. So thank you so much for being here, Susan.
Thank you.
And I, first of all, am blown away by all of your energy and everything that you do. And I am so happy to be able to talk to you about this idea of success. And I want to get into this conversation first by asking you how you define success, either for yourself, in your business, for your clients. How do you define it, and what do you think about success?
I think very good things about success, Ms.
Yes.
Lasky. First of all, I've always felt that success was extremely important to me. I have always wanted to be a very successful person. Even as a young woman, I envisioned myself being a businesswoman. I imagined myself in these power business suits, carrying a really nice briefcase, making things happen, doing deals.
Yep.
That was all. Business was always interesting to me, and I wasn't going to do it if I couldn't be successful. So when I thought about what it is that success means to me, maybe it would be different as a younger woman, but today in my 50s, success is a combination of really 4 things for me.
Okay.
Number 1 is money. Like, if I'm not making money, I am not successful in my own eyes. So it is definitely a measure for me. And I like to make a lot of money. I am not afraid to make ridiculously large sums of cash because
Give us some examples, honey. Like, what do you mean?
well,
Seriously.
one of the reasons that I like to make money is because I love to give things to people and do things for people. The more money that I make, the more charities I can contribute to. The more money I make, the better school I can send my daughter to. The more money I make, the more I can pay my employees. And whenever someone asks me for something, I can give it to them. I can wear gorgeous clothes and have all of the best face products. So I can like glop it all on and never age. So money is really important to me, but at the same time, I can't be a wage slave. I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. Even when I worked for someone, they were my client. I ran my own company. I've spent some time working in large organizations to get the experience of it, but for the most part, I've been an entrepreneur because freedom is as important to me as cash flow. I like to be able to determine and make up the strategies myself. I happen to be a strategic thinker. I am a big picture thinker. It's one of my skills. I took that wonderful Strengths Finder quiz. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a Gallup-based poll database that tells you what your top 4 strengths are compared to the rest of the United States in the case of this particular book. You buy the book, you take the quiz, you go online, they tell you what your strengths are, and then you have some sense. And I can remember taking that Strengths Finder, and one of mine was woo, which is I'm a salesperson. I like to sell. I like to create win-wins is what I really like to do. So I like business development. I like to help people find great solutions and things like that. And I read that one of my strengths was that I was strategic. And I was like, I knew it. Man, I just had a feeling that I was a little bit more strategic in my thinking than a lot of the people I dealt with in business. And so when I got that almost like permission to believe that I was, I became even more strategic. So I love that tool. So money and freedom, they're really balanced for me. Without one, there is not another. And money buys me freedom as well. So it kind of works that way. But the other piece for me that I didn't have for a long time that is extremely important to me now is my own mission, my vision, And what I really do is I publish sex and relationship advice. I run a publishing company, Personal
Yes.
Life Media. And my mission is to empower people to feel like they can have the intimacy and the connection with another human being. That is our gift, our God given gift as human beings. I want people to have that. I want to wipe away the shame and the repression and the abuse and the media's manipulated madness of what sexuality really is. And I want people to be able to have a soulful connection together. So
Hmm.
for me, success also means being on mission. And
Hmm.
finally,
Which, by the way, I
yeah,
just want to interrupt you
sure.
real quick, is one of the things that I love about you because so much of, I think, when we talk about success, it's really just the money or it's just the big home or the lake house or whatever that is. It's not really about interpersonal relationships, but I think when we don't have those loving and interpersonal relationships, then the house is going to be empty and the lake house is going to be empty and
Yeah.
the car is going to have less meaning, really, because we don't have those relationships. So anyway, go on. Number 3.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I appreciate that. That was funny. A girlfriend of mine came over last night with a nice bottle of champagne, mind you. And she said, you're so great. I look on your Facebook profile and you have like 3,000 friends. And I can't believe I'm lucky enough to be sitting here getting time with you. And I was like, are you crazy, girl? First of all, I'm old. I know a lot of people because I'm old and I've always been kind of out in the world. I emceed a lot of conferences and events. You get a lot of business cards, you make a lot of connections. But I love her so much because I don't have to filter myself in any way. She can handle the whole of me. And I'm a big personality, and I don't ever like to be the kind of a person that makes another person feel badly about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't like to have to diminish myself or pull myself back or worry that I'm going to trigger someone. And I love that she can handle it, which is so great.
Yeah.
So the fourth one is peer respect. This is where my own personal insecurity comes in. And that is that I want my work to be respected. I want my partners to feel like when they do deals with me that they're happy they did them. I want my customers to feel when they buy my products that they're completely satisfied. Not only that, but that I'm the best person in the world they could learn about sex from. I want it takes a lot of courage, honestly, to stand for people's sexuality. So
Yeah.
many people are triggered and shamed by their desires that the minute you talk about sex, they just go, oh, you can just literally see people shrinking because they're so sad in themselves or conflicted in themselves or empty and lonely. And so to stand for women's and men's sexual empowerment, to know that it's a path to wholeness and confidence and connection with other people, it's taken me a long time to be right in that. When we first started our company, Personal Life Media, we had a lot of, conscious capitalism and all these other different products and programs. And one day I realized, you know what? Screw it, man. I like the sex stuff. I'm clearly working out my stuff. And that's how I ended up here, right? I mean, I didn't have good sex till I was 45. And then I was like, so this is what they mean. All right. I used to think, are you guys all just bullshitting about
Yeah.
this?
Is somebody lying here?
Yeah, I was thinking because it wasn't happening for me.
Right.
And then once it finally did, I was like, oh, I really need to help people who feel like me.
Ah.
Exactly. But it took me a lot of time to get used to being that person. And I kind of used some of my other programs as the beer. Well, we're in personal development, I had all these. And then one day I was like, you know what? Screw it, man. The only thing we have to worry about is our daughters, friends, parents judging us. And when our daughter got to be the age where she was like, Mommy and Daddy, I know you publish sexuality content. It's okay. Don't worry. Then we could really play full out. I think that was when we got to the point where we were like, all right, I can own this and I can confidently own it. So peer respect is important to me. I need to feel accepted as well. And so recently I asked my customers, I sent out an email and said, email me back one word to describe what Personal Life Media means to you.
Hmm.
And I got back like literally like 1,500 responses. I stopped counting. I stopped tallying them up. But what was clear to me was that the two big words that people used to think about what it is that I offer in the world was educational or informative
Mhm.
and enlightening and inspirational.
Mm.
So it wasn't just that I was teaching them about sexuality. They were feeling like they were enlightened and inspired about their
Mhm.
sexuality. And when I got that hit from the people who read the stuff I write and
Right.
watch the stuff I produce, I
Right.
thought, all right, I'm getting that respect that I need, and that is a big measure of success for me.
So this is so interesting to me because this is a recipe that is so personal to you.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think that you had said that was so important is that it also really evolved over the
Yeah.
years. And it probably will evolve again, I imagine.
Well, I think what happened was in my mid 30s, I stopped living in the trance of what I thought people expected me to be.
And yeah, that
And by
should.
my 40s, I was having what other people called my midlife crisis and what I called my being my true self and living to the level of zest and vitality and pleasure that I really wanted to. It was kind of like became a teenager again and I did a do over and I started being who I really was. And by the time I got into my 50s, I was very comfortable with who I really am, such that I don't have to filter what I say
Mhm.
for the most
And
part.
let me ask you this: what did that feel like to come into this? I found who I am. I get to speak what I want to speak and say what I want to say. What did that feel like to you?
Sometimes I felt a lot of shame
Mm-hmm.
when I could see that when I could see that people were struggling with what I was talking about. I really try to meet people where they are, and through learning how to express who I am in ways that make don't trigger other people. I learned to be more firmly planted and rooted in who I was, and be okay that not everybody liked me as well. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped trying to get everybody to like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are people who don't like me at all. There are people who think I'm
Me too,
whatever,
sister. Yep.
whatever. And it still hurts. I'm a people
Mm-hmm.
pleaser, but I get as much or more positive feedback about the fact that people look up to someone like me who stands for who I am and lives my life completely the way I want to, that it makes it all worthwhile. It's okay.
So really, what you're saying is, unfortunately, you're human, and
No,
none of
I'm
us are.
an
And
angel.
none of us are blank slates, so of course we're going to have feelings about we I think we all have that, no matter if
Yes.
we're 5 or if we're 75, if someone doesn't like us or not.
Yep.
But I think really what you're saying here, and you'll let me know if I'm understanding you correctly, is that once you really figured out your true voice,
Yeah.
even though there was an element of, you use the word shame, I can understand people might feel there's fear mixed up into that as well.
Yeah.
But once you did that, you were free in a way.
Yes.
And when we talk about this idea of success,
Yeah.
then I think the important piece that you're saying here too is that when you're aligned with yourself,
Yeah.
like you, when you came up, you said, these are the 4 things where I feel make me successful. This is how I measure. These are my measurements.
Yeah.
And it just made me really think that it's such a personal thing for you.
Yeah.
And once we really get to that place of being able to and allowing ourselves to be the true self, that's when we get success.
Well, I'll tell you why it was those 4 things.
Okay.
I swear I'm not pitching my stuff in any way. Literally, I give this to you. But I wrote a book called
Yes.
Relationship Magic. And this book is the most important, it's a $10 book that is and my stuff sells for hundreds of dollars. It is the most important thing that I've ever written because what it does is help people understand what they most want out of a relationship. Because you've probably heard that the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So we tend to treat our partner like we want to be treated. Instead of treating them with the platinum rule, treat them the way they want to be treated, right? And so a lot of times we haven't very clearly communicated exactly what it is that we want out of our relationship with our partner. We haven't said, well, the most important thing to me is security. I need you to take care of the bills. I need you to make enough money that we're not broke. I need you to get my car door for me. Or, the number one thing for me is affection, passion, vitality, and turn on with each other, and all the other stuff whatever your things are. Everyone has a unique set of relationship values. And when you and your partner figure out what the top 4 things are for you, what is it that you care most about, and what is it that he cares most about, and then you get up every day and you start giving each other those 4 things. You get like 90% of the way there with 10% of the effort. You're not feeling around in the dark. You're not guessing at what will make them happy. You're giving them what they've asked you for. And your partner's not going to ask for anything that's ridiculous. If they do, then maybe you're in the wrong relationship. But
Right.
I think about success in that way too. What is success for me? What are my values around success? My values around success are money, freedom, peer respect, and my mission, right? And so that's why I came up with it. That's why I was thinking about it in that construct, because you have an entirely different set of values that are your measures of success, as does every single person. And so really getting to what those are, which is what you're doing, I really appreciate that.
So how would you actually do that? How would you help someone or talk someone through, besides reading your book, which all of that, by the way, all of the information of that is in this email with links to SusanBratton.com, and she and I are cooking up something special that I'll tell you about at the end. But anyway, I digress. How would you help someone to figure out what those values are, or to figure out how they could create their own measures of success?
Well, I guess I would just do it the way I did it for relationships. So the way I did it
Yep.
for a relationship was I collected over the years what I call the relationship magic words. And these are the values that are important to various people in relationship. Now, some of these will be success oriented, like achievement or adventure or passion or patience or health or family or mastery or communication or growth or honesty. These are some of the kinds of things that are relationship values. I am sure there are success values as well, like money and freedom and
And I don't even know, I don't even think we necessarily have to separate those things.
Right.
I think happiness or joy or sensuality or ecstasy, all of those things can be measurements of success as well.
Yeah, they definitely can if they are what you value as a measurement of
Yes.
success.
And that's the point that you're really trying to make,
And
is that this idea is so personal that we get to define what it is for ourselves.
and what the way that you get to like what are your top 4 is you do a rank order prioritization. So in the relationship sphere, you ask yourself, would I be in a relationship if I couldn't have security? No, I would not. I would literally be in a relationship that was financially secure, even if I didn't love that person as much as someone who gave me something else. So what I'm trying to say is that I'd give up love for security if I couldn't find love, because security is more important to me. Like
Right.
that is for my upbringing, for whatever went on in my life. Like I just really need my partner to like own my safety and my well-being. It is my value. It may not be your value, but it's mine. And so once you know what your success values are or your relationship value, you can rank, order, prioritize them. Would I be in a career if I couldn't have this? Would I be in a career that didn't give me freedom? Would I be in a career that didn't support my mission? Would I be in a career that I couldn't make a ton of money? My business is a scalable business because I like that. My business is one where I can work from anywhere because I'm on my way, as you know, to the
Yes.
airport to go to Utah to spend a week at my girlfriend's house, ski in the morning, work in the afternoon from Utah, because that freedom is so important to me. So it's really about just prioritizing what those things, I call them the deal breakers. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have this job or this career if I couldn't have this. And that's how you get to it.
So let me ask you this. I wonder what you'll have to say about this question.
All right.
Why do we resist then success like that? Why do we resist? We're talking about relationships for example. Why do people resist the relationship where they're going to be fulfilled or they're going to be safe or they're going to be happy or they won't be repeating patterns? Where do you think those types of resistance comes from?
Fear that they're not enough, that they don't deserve.
Hmm. And I imagine you see that as a huge barrier to success.
Well, you have core fears. And those fears were implanted in you from the way you were parented and in your past career and personal relationships. And so you are a measure of your past experiences and they define you. And so you have some core fears and they color your, the things that you need the most from a relationship.
So then my follow-up question would be, how can we get people to shift from either that resistance or feeling flat to getting into that mindset of success? Be starting to be able to dream and feel juicy and fun and like they're getting ready for something big. How can we get people to sort of shift from A to B?
I think probably the first thing is identifying what would truly make you happy. So, spending the mental energy to brainstorm in your own mind
Mm-hmm.
what happiness, what success, what passion, what relationship, what your life would look like if you were really living exactly how you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And allowing yourself the freedom of mind to be quite experimental about what that might be, to break out of the trance state where you got some societal expectations, you got some parental, some cultural, some peer expectations where you're kind of like doing the things you think everybody wants you to do. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing that, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
What is and are your passions? How do you get to vitality? How do you get to creativity, to the zest of life, to the hunger for more where you know that you can't wait to get up in the morning because you just like eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're thinking about it when you go to sleep at night
Yeah.
because it just fulfills you. Like when you think about what that might be, then you can take the steps to pivot and begin to live the life you want and to get that juice and that creativity to start to, get your sap to rise.
Gotcha. So it's really creating the vision
Yeah.
and starting to think about how you want to feel.
Yeah,
Would
there's
you
a
say that's
lot.
right?
Yeah, the feelings you want to feel, and there's a lot to taking stock. Literally going through some creative visualizations, and what it really ends up being is what makes meaning for you. It's the
Mm-hmm.
feelings you want to feel come from what makes meaning in your life. And so those tend to be things that are kind of an intersection of your interests and your skills and talents. So you have some talents that are better than everybody else, like your strengths, find your strengths, and you have some skills that you can focus on and put some mastery toward. I've written last year, because what we do is people join our mailing list, they get on our mailing list, and then we send them tons of inspirationally informational sex advice and
Yeah.
relationship advice. And last year alone, I wrote 755 emails that went out during the day. So I'm pretty good at writing emails. Like that's my medium, you know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some people are bloggers and video journalists, and well, what I am is I like damn fine email writer for some because I have done it. I have really done it and done it and done it. And so I use some of my skills, my knowledge and my mastery to get really good at what I did against my passion, which is teaching people how to have more passionate, intimate connections with each other. And so it's really that intersection of your desires, what jazzes you, and what you're good at, and finding that crux for yourself.
I love what you're saying because I think that when we throw out the word success,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily think about how we feel. We don't necessarily think about, or when we want to play with how do I want to be successful, we measure it by, the Chanel bag and the Gucci loafers and the huge place in Palm Beach, whatever your jam is.
Yeah.
But we don't come back to those feelings. And I think that is paramount when we talk about this idea of success, because like I said before, we're going to get to these places. You're going to get that Chanel bag and the Gucci loafers, and you're just not going to feel it.
Yeah.
And without that component, it feels like empty.
Yeah.
So I'm also curious a little bit about your thoughts on this idea of why do you think people get so obsessed and stuck with that idea of success without the feelings?
Well,
Because it is much easier. I think it's much easier for people just to think, what's success to me? Success is, a 7-figure launch. Instead of saying success to me is feeling safety, inspiration, and, whatever it is for you, freedom and mastery, for example, right? So why do you think it's so easy to pick these, the things that we would traditionally think would be success or would show success instead of the feelings and the fulfillment route?
well, I just think it's a matter of being exposed to the concept of doing it. So the reason that for many people success seems material, and I actually don't think it does. I think most people understand that material success is only a part of it, and that more and more people are understanding that things like their mission are a big part of their success. So that's a part of conscious capitalism. And that is, there's a groundswell of understanding that we want to give back, we want to do things for others, we want to be in service in a way that also allows us to send our kid to a good school, And so I think it's just a pivoting of our cultural lens that is happening now. And so I think more and more people are aware of it, actually.
Well, I think
Because of the work like you that
Well,
you're doing right now.
I was just going to say, I think there are some people though on this summit or who are the audience right now who are hearing this conversation for the first time.
Awesome. Welcome.
Welcome. And how much better
Here's a
is
big
life?
hug. Mwah. So happy to have you here.
And you know that this is something I certainly subscribe to. I think that you can't just have that Chanel bag without the feelings that come with it. You want to have a Chanel bag? Go for it, girl.
Yeah.
Stunning.
I have a Chanel bag. Well, I have a Givenchy bag, and I earned it. And when
Yeah.
I carry that thing, man, I worked my butt off to get that. That's my first big girl purse I ever got. And it's actually, you can barely see the logos. It's very low key. A person who doesn't spend a lot of time in Saks Fifth Avenue with a very trained eye for handbags would never know.
Never know.
And that's not important to me. But that bag is glorious. And when I'm wearing it, I feel like the grown-up woman that made it. It's just the funniest thing.
And that's the feeling connected with that. And I think there are so many people who will say, or who are critics of that, of if you're going to give and you're going to be, philanthropist, why do you need a Givenchy bag? And, I think the answer is, I don't see why those have to be incongruent.
Right.
Because if you feel like that on the inside, why not show it on the outside?
It was funny. I just had a conversation with my daughter the other night, and we were talking about being feminists. And I told her that I'm a feminine feminist. And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I really am as feminine a woman as I am a strong and masculine woman. Yeah, I'm the CEO of my company. Yeah, I boss people around and tell them what to do. And I'll speak up in a room when everyone's silent and say what everyone's thinking.
Yep.
And, I'm a courageous go-getter. But I also sit on my husband's lap in lingerie. And he loves that because his number one relationship value is that passion and affection. He loves that. And so I feel like as women, we can have we can be feminine feminists if that's what we are. If you're a girly girl, you can be a kick-ass girly girl, you know? And a man can be the same. He can be a heartfelt, warm, and sensitive
Absolutely.
kick-ass guy. And so, same with career. You can be financially successful yourself and be extraordinarily generous with others. And the
Absolutely.
more money you make, the more you can do for everyone, including yourself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
put your life mask on first.
I love it. I love it. A great visual. Hope you have a safe flight, by the way.
Thank
I
you.
cannot believe that we are actually at a half hour mark.
Okay.
And I feel like I could talk to you for hours
Thank you.
and it would be so much fun.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you one last question before
Okay.
we wrap up, which is if you could leave this audience with one thing today, what would that be?
I guess I would say if you're thinking about success, you have to think about the business model. So when we're coming down to success, we're really talking for the most part, in my mind, about the financial side of our life, about our career. Now, there are some people that don't have to worry about money, and for them, success might be how much philanthropy they can do. But I think for most people who are focused on being successful, they're focused on being successful in their career. And for a lot of people, I see that they get off on a business idea. What they don't understand is that they have to drive revenue to somebody's bottom line, their own or their
Mhm.
company's. Even if you work in a not-for-profit, the bills
Yes.
have to get paid. And so I'll give you an example. I'm in the publishing business. I sell, downloadable home study programs so that anyone anywhere in the world can learn about their sexuality and expand their sexual intimacy. And there are a lot of people in my business who build wonderful products, but they never get enough traffic to their website and their offer doesn't convert. People don't buy the product once they get there because they're not focused on the business model. They are focused on producing programs. And
Right.
the success of a business, you'll go broke creating content that no one consumes. And
Hmm.
so the bottom line is that any vision that you have, any success that you want to achieve, if it's a business, has to have a revenue model. And your mastery should be focused on driving the revenue into that bottom line and being able to see where the money's coming from and putting fuel on the fire of your success to grow your revenue in whatever is working. Work where it's working.
Hmm.
Fuel that fire. Focus on revenue, because the more revenue you bring into your business, the more skunkworks projects you can do.
Right.
So that would be my advice.
Work where it's working. And I think that
Well, the
lesson,
business model.
and I was just going to say, and I think that lesson can actually translate in every area of our lives, whether it's relationships or sex or body or our business. I think it really can translate to all of those areas. So thank you so much for those
Thanks,
wise
Liz.
words.
Thank you.
And everyone here can find out more about Sue at susanbratton.com, Bratton. And for all of you at home, just want to give you a little heads up. Susan and I are working together to put something extra special together for you. So you will hear from us, you will hear from me specifically in the next couple weeks with a very special email offer just for you. So please keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah.
And Susan, again, thank you so much
Liz.
for joining us today and
My
contributing
pleasure.
to this conversation of Ready, Set, Success.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Dr. Liz Lasky from LizLasky.com, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks, Susan.